Gravel Bike California here in San Luis Obispo. We're gonna give you a little tour out to Avila Beach. Now, San Luis Obispo is one of my favorite towns in California. Probably because, little known fact, I'm an alumnus of Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. Thanks to an outstanding academic record and of course, a legacy that will forever leave an imprint. Now, there are a lot of choices in every direction, but I tend to choose Perfumo Canyon when I'm short on time and I want to do something noteworthy. Trust me, you'll see. San Luis Obispo is perfectly positioned at the halfway point off the 101 between Los Angeles and the Bay Area. The Chumash were the original inhabitants of the region, with the mission established in 1772 off of the creek, with the town gaining its footprint in the Rancho era, with a number of 19th century buildings still firmly placed. The downtown is laced with a number of great restaurants and small businesses, but many visitors get stuck visiting this alley. Perfumo Canyon is a ride I love to do when I don't have a big window to ride, but it's also a good experience for starters on this 27-mile loop with a few add-ons I threw in. I headed west down Higuera Street, where you slot underneath the 101 to make your way to the Madonna Trail, which on more adventurous days, you can try tackling the peak of Cerro San Luis Obispo. This bike path leads you to the landmark Madonna Inn, known for its 110 unique rooms that I've never stayed in. Turning onto Madonna Road, you experience one of the worst merging bike lanes anywhere, and hedges you hope are perfectly trimmed. Making a right onto Los Ojos Valley Road, your suburban experience soon ends after crossing over the Kermit and turning left up Perfumo Canyon, which you need to keep an eye out without a signal. After bordering a bit more of the burbs, Perfumo soon becomes a tree-ridden getaway. The total climb up Perfumo is 4.8 miles, averaging just 4.4%, which is not as steady as the numbers suggest. Early on, the grade is fairly light, and there's a little extracurricular dirt off to the side, but stick to the main attraction. You follow the creek with nowhere to go but up. But as you travel over the cattle guard that gives hints to the canyon over a century ago, the heavy part of the climb starts. The last 2 miles clip in at almost 8%, but there's a big payoff that's worth the effort. Towards the top, the road serpentines, and the trees subtract at the proper time for views that you'll slow down for, including Morro Bay in the background. Being a serious climb, not everyone is going to slow their roll going up, especially when you have local pro riders like Eddie Anderson and Christopher Blevins. But it's pretty mandatory to take a hero stop. The top rolls for a bit with some spaced out prime real estate, capitalizing on the views. But soon, you get into downhill mode, which you're going to enjoy, but two things to watch out for. First, be careful crossing the cattle guard at these speeds, as my road bike didn't take too well a few years ago. Another note is to beware of wild turkeys around the county, as they're harder to avoid than pylons on the downhill. You should be enjoying the gravel, but don't expect too much of it. As first, Perfumo transitions into Sea Canyon, and then you're greeted with a short kicker, signaling the end of dirt. The downhill lays down soon after, with 2K of steepness, followed by another 5 miles, lingering just above flatness. The narrowness of the road adds to its quaint flavor, but while this loop is short enough to think about stopping off at a farm or wine tasting, Sea Canyon hits a T at the bottom, where you can make a left and head back to San Luis Obispo, where you'll cover 25 miles. But I always head towards Avila Beach instead to take in the sights. Normally, I go on Avila Beach Drive, but I chose the Bob Jones Bike Trail in search of signs for the Pacific Coast Railway, which ran from Port Hartford to San Luis Obispo for 60 years, starting in 1876. There aren't any notable vestiges, and with the number of people walking the trail, the main road is the option I'd stick with next time. I continued west along the old route on Avila Beach Drive, past Old Port Beach, out to the pier where the trains reverse directions. It's not a bad spot for a break, as likely you'll have a lot of space to take in the scenery. Heading back, I like to dip into town where the urge is real to stop for lunch or a heightened form of beverage. I snuck out of town past these rustic old bungalows, back onto Avila Beach Drive, where you can catch a small sign of where the old Pacific Coast Railway bridge crossed the creek. One more sidebar had me turning up Cave Landing Road with a punchy third of a mile climb at 10%, heading to Pirates Cove. This popular lookout's name doesn't really reflect its history, but it's a great spot that hints at landscapes further up the coast. Past the lookout, you actually catch a little bit of dirt that you wish would just continue as you float above the water. But soon, you'll find yourself rolling through this private community that you can legally ride through. Looping around, you make your way around these beach burbs until you return onto Avila Beach Drive, heading out of town on Ontario Road. You parallel the 101 with some dirt options off to your left, before flipping over the freeway before they narrow its way back into town, closer to traffic, where you're ready to call it a day. I like having these low-stress adventures out here. You see plenty in a short amount of time. Sure, there wasn't a lot of dirt out there, but I definitely rubbernecked over all the possibilities. Please subscribe to our channel and also consider supporting us on Patreon. You'll be getting more gravel guides and also help support us travel around the state of dirt.